Hello everybody. Well, if you recognise this bit of Portsmouth, this is where M13 came. I didn't know that. I thought he'd only come down as far as Brighton. I didn't know he got down to here. That's really weird to think that M13 is ridden on this road. This one, here. Strange, isn't it? All the places. Anyway, right, what am I going to talk about today? I'm going to talk about conspiracy theories, which is a good interest of mine. I don't follow them, I don't necessarily believe them, like some people, but it's very interesting. I recently watched a lecture by David Icke, I think his name was, something like that. And basically it was a 2-hour lecture, and in places it was rather boring, but basically he was saying about how the world is run by a very, very small group of people, which is not the government. It's this, he was explaining it in a pyramid system. At the very top, you've got this little group of these people that are of original bloodline. There's just a few families supposedly that like breed between themselves and could supposedly control the world through the government and all the other different ways they can. And as you come down this pyramid, obviously there's more and more people as you go down each level, but as you go further down they know less and less, and the very bottom rung is the people. Okay, so we understand that. Now, his explanations for some things do explain some things, which is like, I'm going to tell you something now that I'm probably going to get a good amount of bloody earfuls about, but it is the fact that I am 26 years old. I have been of voting age for 8 years, and I never have. Basically, because I don't think it actually makes a difference. And this David Icke lecture was very interesting in this fact that he was saying that the reason it feels like no matter who we choose, we always end up with the same outcome. Like there's one big plan that the people on high want to happen, but they let us think that we've got government and we have choice, because if we feel like we have choice, we feel free. Whereas he's trying to say we're not free at all. We're completely bound by by everything. The media tries to make us scared of things. The media wants us to do this. It's supposedly that we're we're sort of hypnotised, and we just live our lives going freely as we think we're free, but actually basically we're not, and we're being controlled overall by this small group. And he was talking about the Illuminati and, you know, sort of the Masons and things like that, which is supposedly, in some of the other conspiracy theories, that the Illuminati and the Masons are the people that are in charge of the world. Not with him, though. He says that some of the groups understand something, and sort of know so much, and are on one level, then there's more on another level, and basically they're still a little way below the top cap of this pyramid. So the Masons and the Illuminati, to give them a group name. I know it's not a group, I'm just saying, because there's many different subdivisions of that. Basically, they are more in the know than we are, but at the same time, they don't actually know what's going on, really. This is just like everyone's being fooled, everyone's being blindfolded at different levels. So some people think they know what's going on, but they don't know what's going on, really. But the person above them knows a little bit more, but still doesn't know what's going on. You see what I mean? And it's really interesting, because it does actually make some sense. It does explain quite a lot of things about the government and about how things are, and how ridiculous some things. You see things and you're like, that's ridiculous. It can't be. But it is. It's really interesting. I mean, I couldn't possibly cover this really in a vlog. I'm going to allow up to 15 minutes to this one, because I'm going to be talking for a while. Too high gear. I didn't realise it was in 5th. It was 3rd. Anyway, yeah. Like a 9/11 to another conspiracy theory. I'm going to get back to David Icke because of the way he left it, which was a big mind fuck. mind fucking load of bollocks, I think actually is more correct. But anyway, 9/11. Obviously, there is more conspiracy theories rumbling about 9/11 than any other, pretty much. Even though it happened, was it about 10 years, 11, 12, I don't know. I can't believe it happened so long ago, but it did, and I remember that day very clearly. And the day it happened, I was watching it on TV like everyone else was. I'd come home from school, and taxi drivers pulled out on me. But that's normal, thanks you cock. And I watched I didn't see the first plane, but I did see the second one hit. And I watched it for that afternoon. And as it was sort of things were progressing, and I was thinking, okay, this must be a terrorist attack, fine. But then when they fell down, I did think, do you know what? Those buildings fell down just like they'd been demolished. Now, I'm not saying they were. It may have just been luck, or bad luck, as it may have been. But the fact of the matter is, if they pay hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions, I don't know what the charge for these things are, to knock down a very, very large building, why is it that they go to all the effort of blowing up, like, of cutting pieces out and putting charges in, and it's all electronically timed to the millisecond? If you can just fly a plane into the side of it and it'll fall down perfectly, twice. Yeah, see, that doesn't sit right with me. As I say, I don't actually believe many conspiracy theories, but there's a few that I don't necessarily believe the theory, but I don't believe the truth is the truth, if you see what I mean. And the theories may be close to the actual thing that happened or not. I mean, the perfect one that's sort of, that gives me the most questions is not actually the Twin Towers, but the Pentagon. Because as it's believed, a passenger plane flew into the Pentagon. Now, I'm not going to go on and on about the size of the hole, the diameter, the lack of wreckage and all of that. Well, I will go about lack of wreckage, but the diameter of the hole and all that, I'm not going to go into that because, well, it doesn't add up. But again, I'm just going to leave that one there. But what I have, when I know something for a fact, that's when I'll start questioning it. Like, that plane was made of aluminium, steel, and all sorts of different things like that. And the melting temperature of that is an awful lot higher than the flash point, or the point that kerosene catches fire, and then and the heat produced from kerosene burning, because every fuel has a maximum heat that it can get to. It can get no more, because it is what it is, molecularly, you know what I mean? It is what it is, and it'll burn at a certain heat. Okay, so there's that. Well, this entire plane supposedly vaporised and disintegrated through the fireball, etc., etc., caused by the plane hitting the ground, or hitting the Pentagon, kerosene everywhere, burn, 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 everything's gone. Well, no, because the metal doesn't melt at that temperature. And let's face it, there's going to be something left, and there was just a few bits and pieces, just a few scraps. That doesn't follow. You see, the biggest one also is the fact that the engine they found part of a jet engine that was photographed on the day. The few photographs there actually are from that day that sort of show anything. And it showed quite clearly the hub of a jet engine, the compressing unit in the middle, I believe it is. It's basically the core of the engine, where it's getting really, really bloody hot. It couldn't melt that. It couldn't destroy it. So there it is. There's only one small problem. It's not from a passenger plane, it's from a small and quite old military jet fighter. Also, you got the fact that you got like the CCTV, the most secure building probably in the world. It's supposed to be to do with world security and America's security, and it's only got a few cameras around it, apparently. Well, we know what they did actually was they didn't release hardly any of the CCTV. And also they went round shortly after it happened, the CIA in their blacked out land 4x4s, went round and they collected all the CCTV from every shop and all around. Anywhere there was CCTV, it was confiscated, probably supposedly to show any evidence or possibly to hide any evidence, because I don't think it was a passenger plane that hit the hit the Pentagon. It doesn't make any sense that it was. Now that is actually, I was talking to my friends and all this, but we were all discussing this the other night, as we regularly do. We thought, well, let's see what an American's point of view on this is. So I know a couple of Americans, perfect example to speak to. It was Jake, rang Jake up. Jake, need to ask you a question. What do you think about 9/11? He told us what he thought. Very, very interesting. And one of the things he hit on is basically that he doesn't, as I understand this, sorry Jake if I've misunderstood you, he doesn't believe the conspiracy theories, but he doesn't necessarily believe what the press said that happened. So I think what he was trying to get at, what I think he said, was basically that he doesn't want to admit that he doesn't like the idea of admitting that his government, or just the American government, rather than just saying his government, or, you know, is capable of doing something like that. Because I have to say, you would be in that, say something, well, you know, like the 7/7 bombings in England. To say to you that, well, actually that was done by the government, I don't know if it was, I'm sure there's many conspiracy theories on that of its own, but to say that it was done by the government, it would be very, very, very scary to think, shit, we've got a government that's willing to do this. You know what I mean? It's like, I think that's where a lot of the people who are just seeing what happened and they'll just say, oh well, the government knows what happened, blah, blah, blah. They went and sorted it out, it was Saddam and it was Bin Laden and all of this, because they don't want to accept the fact that from the evidence that we are given, it doesn't make perfect sense that that's what happened. It may, in fact, there's bits of evidence out there which are truth and completely throw the other theory out the window. The whole what the government reckon happened. So it really is a really difficult one. Now, I don't think that it was done by a terrorist group. It might have been done by a terrorist group for the American government, but what did they have to gain out of it happening? That's the question. They had so much to gain. They got out into the Middle East where they wanted to go, and they managed to do it supposedly legally. Anyway, yeah, they supposedly had done it legally, but it doesn't feel that way. And what have they now got from it? They've secured oil and just all sorts of things those countries can offer. They've just been able to go over there and go, well, we're helping you out. Right, now we're going to look after this. Isn't it funny how they very, very quickly went for the oil fields? I know it's because the terrorists set fire to them. Well, not sorry, terrorists, Al-Qaeda and all the other different groups. Because they didn't want the Americans to get the oil. That was the point of it, like, no, you're not taking our oil, we'll burn it rather than you get it. Now, I'm going to go on to the mindfuck, what the fuck are you talking about, bollocksy part of David Icke's lecture. His entire lecture, it was very interesting, and as I say, it did explain how we are, how things have happened. It does explain some other things that key fit in. But the thing is, when you come up with a conspiracy theory, you're doing it after the fact. So it's very easy to say, well, this happened. Well, no, that doesn't make sense. Okay, we'll change that bit, and this happened. So you can make another story for how something happened, and then just flatly believe that. He was explaining that, basically, are we real? Are we really here? And his feeling was this: what is the brain? What are senses? When you smell something, you smell it. Your nose turns that into a signal. It's transmitted to your brain, and your brain decodes this signal and tells you what it smells like. But he suggests, basically, that we aren't real, and it's somewhat along the lines of the Matrix, that we're not real, and we've been plugged in, or we don't necessarily have a physical body. I don't know who was supposed to have done this, or why they were going to do it, or why they've done it, but supposedly we are basically more like a computer program, and everything around us is like a computer program, and we decode what we see. We see this bin is a program, and we see it and we decode it as a bin, and to us it's physical and real, and our bodies are physical and real, but supposedly they're not. It's only the limitations of your mind, and this is getting very Matrixy now, I had to say. But he's saying the reason they can prove that this happened is because someone was hypnotised. So that changes the programming of the brain. And they had a father sat in a chair, supposedly hypnotised, and his daughter was stood bang in front of him. Literally, he couldn't see anything else but her belly. Stood right in front of him as he sat in the chair. He's hypnotised, and he's told that when you awake, you will not be able to see your daughter in the room. So he wakes up, and he says, is your daughter in the room? And the guy looks around, and he's not looked at her at all, and he says, no, I can't see her. So he holds, the hypnotist holds this watch with an engraving behind his daughter's back, so there's no way he could possibly see it. And then he said to him, what am I holding in my hand? And he said, well, it's a watch, I can see it. And he said, well, what's on the watch? He said, well, it's an engraving. And apparently he leans in towards his daughter's belly, as if he was looking straight at the watch, and reads the inscription off of it. Which means that his brain is no longer processing that program, so she no longer exists in the sort of the game, which is his life. Now, I have to say, that is going a little bit fucking far. I'm sorry, no. There is no evidence whatsoever that that's true, or no evidence whatsoever to say that anything would be like that. This world is as real as it looks. Well, it might not be run in a real way, but the Earth is a real physical thing. Fuck off. That was the thing. I watched this 2-hour fucking lecture, and right at the end, it's the biggest fuck you. I was like, this is all it is. So you're like, okay, I believe you up to this point. If you'd left it there, I've gone away thinking, you know what? Yeah, you've said some interesting things here today. As soon as you said that, I thought you're a fucking idiot. But okay, maybe it is true. Maybe I'm just a computer program. Maybe everything I do in my world is not real, and blah 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 blah. So these things like maybe telepathy and telekinesis and what's the other ones? Out-of-body experiences. They go along with that theory. And let's face it, if this world was a computer program and everyone in it was a computer program, everything, so it's the biggest computer program there will have ever been even thought of. It would go wrong all the fucking time. So there you go. That's conspiracy theories from my point of view, and the way I see things. I think I see things with logic. It is absolute, solid logic. If something makes more sense to be a certain way, everything, all the evidence and all the things, if they all match up and it all works perfectly and it's like a key in a door and it's all, it all comes together, yes, then I think there is questions. And if the government says something that doesn't fit in with that overall key idea and doesn't unlock the truth, as it were, then I tend to question it. But I'm sorry, Betty's not a computer program. I hope I haven't bored you, and I hope that you have, maybe this has made you want to go and look into these things a bit more, if you just flatly believe the government, or continue looking into things if you already like conspiracy theories, which, let's face it, most people do. I have a conspiracy theory that man has no indicator because he didn't use it. So that fits in, makes sense, doesn't it? He didn't indicate because he didn't have an indicator. His bulb's blown. No, it's because he's a fucking dick. Anyway, catch you all next time, people, and I'll try and be a little bit more down to earth. Okay, big smile, everyone, and pretend it was a happy vlog and I wasn't ranting. Big smile, everybody, smile. Yes, little side teethies stick out. Come on, smile, smile. Now you're smiling. Oh, that fox weren't smiling. Now you're smiling. Good.